Welcome to part 2 of machining a fidget spinner. So in the last video I showed you how I machine operation number 1 of the fidget spinner. So I'm going to just call it the top side. And this time operation number 2 is the bottom side of the spinner. And what we're going to do first is fixture this into a pallet so we can put it on the Pearson work holding pallet system and hold it really tight so we can machine it. So this is the fixturing pallet that I use for operation 2 of the Tranquilizer ER REDUX fidget spinner. So I'm taking these spinners and I'm flipping them over like this. And since I don't have much to hold on to, I designed this fixture to have a wall right here to help hold it straight and to help with the outside force. So I put the fidget spinner on here upside down, slide it in there. Now on the inside, as you can see on this one that doesn't have one on there yet, this is an inside diameter clamp that expands and holds it down on a downward kind of pressure here. So this one, just like the other pallet, can hold 4 fidget spinners. And then what I do is I tighten up these screws that are inside the holes, and I also tighten up these right here, which expand and push the spinners to that outside wall, which holds them perfectly straight. So I'm going to wipe this fixture holder down so that everything fits flat and tight. Alright, now for the probe. I need to find the top of the spinner, so I check for the bottom of the fixture plate there where the spinner sits, and I go up 0.39 inches, and now I am finding the boss center of my bearing hole. So I'm finding X, Y, and Z. And the first move, of course, is to face the spinner. And I know that you've seen this before in the first video, so I will cut some of this out and speed some of these parts up. This is, again, basically facing the spinner, very close passes. You can see the machine finish there. So on my machine finished spinners, I like that really tight pattern that you're looking at there. But let's go ahead and speed things up here. This is the last pass on the facing. Then after this, the next move is going to be to profile around the outside of the spinner, around the top part there. Try to get some cool camera angles in here. I'm using an older camera and the batteries don't last long. So I'm constantly stopping and changing them out. I only have 2 batteries, so I'm always charging one while I'm using the other. I need to invest in a better camera. I like the look of it, the video that it shoots. Alright, so speed things up here. After the profile is done, the next move is the bearing pocket. So we're going to move over here and start the bearing pocket toolpath here, slowly circling into the spinner body. This keeps going until we're all the way to the other side of the spinner. We speed this up. There we go. About halfway through here. And we're almost all the way through with the roughing passes here. Once this is done, we're going to go back and do one final finishing pass, hitting the walls of that pocket there, making it nice and smooth. And then the fun part, I always like watching this big chamfer happen. And so this goes down in layers until it gets to the depth we want. And I am also going to speed this up because I want you to watch the whole thing because it's just cool watching it take shape. So here we go. With each pass we go a little deeper until we get down to the depth that we're looking for, which is about right there. Alright, the next pass will be the micro chamfer that happens on the bottom side of that big chamfer that we just did. These are kind of hard to see on the camera unless the light hits it just right. So after that micro chamfer on the bottom, we have another micro chamfer that happens on the top of that big chamfer. I'm speeding this up a little bit too. There we go. Okay, so now we are adding the chamfers to the balance holes. They've already been drilled from operation number 1, but now we are chamfering this side of the holes. Alright, now let's clean this up. Let's clean that bearing hole up with the chamfer on this side too. Again, we didn't have to drill that bearing hole because it's already been drilled on the first stop. We're just adding a nice little chamfer to it. We're going to clean up all those chamfers by going back over that button pocket, smoothing out the sides. And then we'll finish up with one last big chamfer around the profile just to clean up whatever burrs might have happened from all the other machining. There we go. Yeah, nice smooth finish here. And we are done with operation 2. Okay, so here's the first batch of copper Tranquilizer ER REDUX spinners, fresh off the machine. As you can see, they have a lot of cutting fluid on them, so they feel kind of oily right now. So they need to be thoroughly cleaned and then finished and inspected and balanced. So we still have a long ways to go, but I will be recording the entire process for you to watch. So that's it for this video. I know a lot of it looked like the last video because some of the machining was exactly the same. The only difference was on the second op, I didn't drill all the way through for the bearing hole or for the balance holes. Just chamfering those holes and basically facing that other side. So this next video, I promise, will be much more interesting. We're gonna This next video will be the first operation of the buttons. And the thing you might find interesting if you know anything about CNC machining or making spinners is that most machinists that I know of that make spinners, they make the buttons on a CNC lathe. I don't have a CNC lathe, I have a manual lathe. So I make my buttons on the CNC mill. So you might find that interesting. It's a totally different process, but I make it happen. Spent a couple of years trying to figure it out, and I've got down a pretty good process. So I'm excited to show that to you, and that'll be my next video, which I'm already in the process of making. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.